Welcome grade 6. Our lesson today is Grammar, Unit 6, Week 2. Today we are talking about comparative and superlative adverbs. As we learned in the previous lesson, adverbs are words used to describe or modify actions, to modify another adjective or to modify another adverb. But today we are focusing on comparative and superlative adverbs, Grammar book page 131 and 135. First of all, what does it mean, comparative adverbs? We use comparative adverbs to compare two actions. I'm comparing between two actions. So here I'm focusing on the action somebody is doing or something is happening. I don't care for describing the person or the noun itself, but the action that is taking place. For example, he swims faster than my sister. Here I'm not comparing between he and my sister. No, I'm comparing between the way he swims and the way she swims. So he swims faster than my sister. Number 2, she draws more nicely than I do. I'm comparing between the way she draws and the way I draw. She draws more nicely than I do. So I'm comparing between, in the first sentence, the action of swimming, and in the second sentence, the action of drawing. Now, point 2. How can we form the comparative adverbs? First of all, if the adverb is a one syllable or some of adverbs are two syllable, one syllable means one part, and two syllables mean here two parts. For comparative adverbs, we form comparative adverbs by adding er, like the adjectives exactly. By adding er to most one-syllable adverbs and some two-syllable adverbs. This example shows us or makes it clear for us. Here we have the adverb early, late, soon, high, hard, fast, straight, well. By the way, these words are adverbs, not adjectives. So, in the adverb early, in comparative, earlier, notice the spelling change. Y, it changed it into I, then ER. Earlier. Late, later. We drop E, then add ER. Soon, sooner, just ER. High, higher. Hard, harder. Fast, faster. Straight, straighter. But well is irregular. It's better. Don't say weller. It's wrong. Well is a regular adverb, so it is better in the comparative form. For example here, Sam always works harder than all his classmates. I'm comparing between Sam's work or the way Sam's work and all his classmates' work. So I'm comparing between two parts here. So harder than, I have just er and the word than. Mr. Ali often arrives earlier than the other teachers. So I'm comparing between the time at which Mr. Ali arrives and the other teachers. He arrives earlier than. I'm describing the time he arrives at. Part 2, to form a comparative of two syllable or more syllable adverbs, we add words less or more in front of adverbs to form superlative here. Okay, so notice that most adverbs that end in ly and the longer adverbs, we just add the word more or less before the adverb. We don't change anything in the adverb. We just add more or less. So it's more quietly, safely, more safely, quickly, more quickly or less quickly, carefully, more carefully or less carefully. In the example, she drives more carefully than her brother. So I'm comparing the way she drives. I'm comparing the way she drives and her brother's the way he drives. So she drives more carefully than. I'm comparing the action of driving here. Mr. Sam behaves more calmly than all the teachers. I'm comparing between the way Mr. Sam behaves and other teachers behave. He comes less quickly than his classmates after the recess. I'm comparing between the way he arrives at the class and the way his classmates arrive after the recess. So he arrives less quickly than. This is the first part, which is comparative adverbs. In the second part, we are talking about superlative adverbs. As we learned before, superlative means I'm comparing more than two actions, means three actions or more. For example, I run the fastest of all my team. Here I'm comparing the way I run and the way all my classmates run. So, of all my team, I run the fastest. No one is faster than me. And she listens to teachers the most carefully. No other person listens to the teacher more carefully than her. So she, or here I compare between she and all of her classmates. How can we form superlative? To form superlative here, for most one-syllable and some two-syllable adverbs, we add just est to the end of the adverb. For example here, fast as an adverb, not adjective. Fast, fastest. Soon, soonest. Earlier, earliest. And note the spelling change as well. Late, latest. High, highest. Straight, straightest. Hard, hardest. But well as an irregular adverb, so don't say wellest. It's wrong. It's the best. Example here to clarify that. She works the hardest of all her sisters, or of all her sisters, she works hardest. I'm comparing between her work, or the way she works, and the way all of her sisters work. So she works the hardest. Mr. Sam arrives the latest one in our school. I'm comparing between the time at which Mr. Sam arrives and the time at which all the school members arrive. So, of all of the school members, Mr. Sam arrives latest, or the latest. For some two-syllable or more syllable adverbs, long adverbs, we add the most or the least in front of the adverb, before the adverb. For example, most adverbs that end in ly, we just add the most or the least before the adverb to compare more than two actions. Happily, the most or the least happily. Quietly, the least or the most quietly. So, in this part, or in this example, we can see that of all the animals, lions attack most ferociously. I'm comparing between lions attack, or the way the lions attack, and all the other animals. I'm comparing between more than two actions here. Lions attack most ferociously, or ferociously. So most here, more than two actions. He shouts the least powerfully in the class. I'm comparing the way he shouts and the way all his classmates shout. So of all of them, he shouts least powerfully. In this table, we can find it more find it clearer. High in the comparative higher, superlative highest, because it's a one-syllable adverb, short adverb. Low as well, lower and lowest. It's a short or one-syllable adverb. But quietly, more or less quietly, most or least quietly. Noisily, more noisily or less noisily, and most or least noisily. And sorry here for the confusion, but as you see, this is here the adverb at the front. Okay, so this is the way we can form a comparative and superlative of adverbs. And when you are focusing on the sentence, notice if you are comparing two or more than two, to choose the correct form of comparative or superlative adverbs. Thank you.